Well, seeing as how I was in Bomber Command, I think it was very important. And when you see the wreckage in those cities, and then the fires that were created, and the mess on every raid, and you go over in the daytime, you see a little town down below, and next thing you know, it was obliterated with dust from the bombs landing. I think that must have had some effect.
So now you're let's say you're on one of these nights when you didn't go on a mission, but a lot of other planes did on your base, and you're standing there on the runway or up by the tower. What did the sound? What was it? What did it sound like when all these planes were just warming up to take off and
Well,
taking off?
I don't think you can describe sounds. It's just the natives, the people of England, and they heard that every night. It's just a roar of aircraft going over, and it's quite a sound to hear if you're standing by and listening to them take off. And it was just like a roar of in our station. We had 301 group, a 301 squadron and 576, and we may have sent out anywhere from 10 to 25 planes on each operation, and you took off at what they call ETA, estimated time of arrival. But that rushing down that runway with in the Lancaster, we had a 4,000-pound bomb, which we called the Cookie, surrounded by 10 2,000-pound bombs. We had a big bomb load, and rowing down that runway, just hoping to Christ that you get off into the air with the heavy bomb load and all that. And speaking of that bomb load, we were diverted one time coming back to an American station, and because we couldn't get back to our own station, and the bomb bays were open, and the Americans thought we carried an extra fuel tank in the bomb bay, which was our 4,000-pound bomb, not a fuel tank. So they were a little surprised.
I bet you. You never landed with those bombs, though, eh? You'd get rid of them first, wouldn't you?
We had one abortive situation where we were told all our bomb load had 5 or 6 delayed action bombs on the aircraft, and the bomb aimer knew which thing they were on, which when he pushed the button to one bomb. And when we were told that we were boarding, they said dump the bombs, these bombs, anywhere, hit a bridge, hit whatever you can pick out. So we did what we thought we did, dumped the bombs, got back in, and as soon as we got within communication of England, and the wireless operator got word to us for to come in, didn't tell us what was happening. We got to the base, and they cleared the runway, put foam on, and they said, come in. We came down in there, and what happened is that there was a miscommunication as to what number the delayed action bombs are, and we still had 3 on the aircraft, but they were delayed for 72 or 90 hours. So, but they made us come right in. Then the armament section went out and defused the bombs. But we had 3 of them when we come back.
Boy.
I would say there was a lot of relief. I don't think, I think everybody was thrilled that it was over, for sure. I mean, anybody that wasn't, there was something wrong. That doesn't mean that if the war had continued, they still would have flown. And of course, the chaps volunteered to go over on Tiger Force in the war in Japan after that. So they were glad it was over, because nobody likes a bunch of guys being killed, army or enemy or anybody. War's a hell of a thing.
How do you feel about the monument being built in London and in regards to, in memory of the fellows that didn't come back? How do you feel about that?
I think it's a tremendous monument. I've seen pictures of it before I came here. Somebody, friends in Britain, sent me a copy. And I've seen actual crews stand around like those people are standing around on that monument. You know, I tried to pick, I haven't got one close enough to see the navigator, but I'm sure he's the one carrying a parachute and a bag of maps kind of thing. He was the one that was loaded down. But they look real. It looks like a real crew to me. And I often think of it as being similar to our war memorial here in Ottawa with those guys coming through that arch. I think that's very real, and I think our monument, our Bomber Command monument, is equal to that.
What do you think of this this Bomber Command Memorial that they're building?
I think it's great. I spent some time in London before I came home after I did an instructing, and I think it's just great. I know the area where they're building it. I think it's been a long time coming, but it's a great thing that's happening. And I think, unfortunately, the people that didn't come back, it's a tribute to them. I had 2 or 3 good friends from my hometown that didn't come back, and other places, other people I knew and didn't come back. So it's a tribute to them. People say, "How'd you get?" I said, "I guess was lucky. I came back, finished my tour, went to instruct, and then came home." So I consider myself very fortunate.
Well, the memorial, I think it's very late in coming. I don't think the media has treated the Canadian Air Force very well. We had a disgraceful program put on by the CBC called The Valor and the Horror about Bomber Command, and so far as they were concerned, we were a pariah. And I'm so pleased that this has come about. So many guys killed. I had a brother killed. I had neighbors killed and schoolmates killed. And as I think most chaps who were in the Air Force had the same thing. At least they had comrades who they knew went down, and I'm so pleased that there's going to be a memorial to them. Thank you.
So do you feel any sense of pride about the fact that they've finally recognized you?
Oh, I feel a tremendous amount of pride. There's only one regret I think I have. There's nothing crediting the ground crews. You know, I think those people who serviced our airplanes, and there was about 4-member ground crew assigned to every airplane. And in the winter months when it was raining and freezing and cold, and they were working out on those airplanes, and sometimes they'd have to, particularly during the invasion, they might have it all bombed up for a particular thing, had to unbomb it, put different bombs on after the invasion. They worked in all kinds of weather, and I think we should have room for them. And I think there should be at least one ground crew member amongst it. You know, a crew consisted of the air crew and the ground crew. Not only the ground crew, but everybody. You know, the people who drove us out to the airplane in the buses or trucks or however we got out there, you know, they all deserve a tremendous amount of credit.
The day of the event, we traveled by bus, slowly winding our way across the Thames, past the great gates of Buckingham Palace, and along the road that led to the monument in Green Park. Veterans from all the Allied countries were there, and as we watched, the statue of the 7 airmen was carefully cloaked in its covering. All eyes faced forward in anticipation. Here we were, moments away from seeing the years of work unveiled, seeing with our own eyes the ceiling of the monument. This ceiling made from a Canadian Halifax aircraft, Halifax LW682 of 426 Squadron. It was Canada's contribution, and we were proud of it.
In 1940, the Commander-in-Chief put Churchill's endorsed strategic plan into action to cripple the Nazi war machine. And it is just 70 years ago that the first of the 1,000 bomber raids, using every aircraft that could be mustered, took the fight to the enemy. As Winston Churchill famously recounted, the gratitude of every home in our island, in our empire, and indeed throughout the world, goes out to the British airmen, who, undaunted by odds, unwearied in their constant challenge and mortal danger, are turning the tide of the world war by their prowess and their devotion. He went on to say that we must never forget that all the time night after night, month after month, our bomber squadrons travel far into Germany, find their targets in the darkness by the highest navigational skill, aim their attacks, often under the heaviest fire, often with serious loss, but with deliberate discrimination inflict shattering blows upon the whole technical and war-making structure of Nazi power. Of the 55,573 Bomber Command airmen who died, many were displaced from their homelands in Europe, 10,000 from Canada, 4,000 from Australia, and nearly 2,000 from New Zealand. It is a great honour, therefore, to see so many veterans from the Commonwealth and elsewhere here today representing their brave comrades.